Marc Lamont Hill disrespects his co-host on the Joe Budden podcast.
Shout out to everybody up there that's getting 225 off that bench press. It's not me, but shout out to y'all.
I've been able to do it because I've been getting stronger carrying all y'all.
Oh, shit.
Don't say bye-bye.
Yeah, y'all, it's getting a little bit wild on the JBP. With the addition of Marc Lamont Hill, it's becoming glaringly clear that he is so much better than the rest of the cast. I mean, it's getting so obvious that even the rest of everybody combined couldn't equal one Marc Lamont. So what happened is towards the end of the show, Marc Lamont makes a joke, but that joke was tough because it was so clear. He says he has to get strong so he can carry the cast. And you might be saying, Danny, it's all jokes, but is it really jokes if we never get serious? As Marc Lamont has been carrying the show, so much so that there are many who saying that he's even outshining Joe Budden on his show. Now, we need to zoom out and look at the dynamics right now. Marc Lamont Hill is destroying other members of the show that they don't even want to have arguments with him. I mean, Flip is saying stuff like, I'm learning in real time. I expect more from you, Marc. Anytime he loses a debate, Ish is going to the bathroom when stuff gets too thick with Marc. It's getting real bad. And then if you even look at Ice's face, that Ish's face, they don't look too comfortable with that. And then even Flip looked a little bit off. And Joe, he says a joke about, oh, you're going to let Marc talk to us like that? And Melissa Ford says that. Melissa Ford seems to be the only person who isn't intimidated by Marc, largely because she knows he's great and there's really nothing she can do about it. And the rest of the cast, they look like the people trying to find a way to beat this dude. They're like, man, it's going to be hard to outshine Marc. There was also another interesting piece of content on the Joe Budden Network. Ian Schwartzman released a behind-the-scenes look at the cast. It's part of his series, the behind-the-scenes, show. Everybody calls it the Ian Show at the Joe Budden Network. And he gave everybody report cards. And I think one of the people who didn't really shine was Ice. I mean, Ian highlighted that he was on the phone a lot. He highlighted that he was, maybe not doing his thing so much.
Average word count, 3,989. Time spent on phone, 21 minutes.
Even going so far as to highlight how much he speaks per episode, and it stood in sharp contrast to Marc Lamont Hill, who, even though it was jokes, it seemed like he got a much better report card. So as you can see, even though this segment was a joke, I still think there's many a truth said in jest. That's why when certain creators, they were trying to be cool with me and they would say something like in a joke about me, I didn't really take too kindly to it because I know that's how you really feel. And I think in this instance, what is really going on behind the scenes is, being revealed on camera. For those of you that don't know, I mean, anybody who watched Dear White People on Netflix, they used to have this storyline where the cast members of the show were watching a show within a show. And the show was a commentary about what was actually happening on Dear White People. It was like this Big Brother show that was a parody of the real Big Brother, and it gave insights into how the cast was thinking about things. And I believe the behind the scenes stuff is giving insight into what Ian and the top brass at the Joe Budden Network think about the cast. Hell, even Joe says on the behind the scenes of this episode, Ian comes in here, says a bunch of stuff, and everybody's pissed off. So that means that when Ian says these things on behind the scenes, it's really having a real life impact on everybody. So that just goes to show you that just because it's happening on camera doesn't mean the truth isn't being revealed. And let's look at Ice. Ice was caught stealing another take again by his A-Mike friend, Joe Budden.
I'm very tight at Nokia.
Stealing my take. Say that a couple damn pounds ago.
And I think this is important because now with the arrival of Marc, you can see everybody's flaws on Front Street. When it used to be just Joe and Flip and Ish and Ice, you couldn't really see how bad everyone else was doing. Flip, he got to the show and he was cool when he first started. He had a spark when he started. But as time went on, even though he was performing, even though he may have been boosting Patreon views, he had his own issues. Issues of not arriving on time, issues of being disruptive to the podcast, issues of trying to fight everybody. But then Marc comes along, and he's not as problematic, but he's just as impactful as Flip. He's probably boosting Patreon numbers. He's probably getting people that never rocked with the Joe Budden podcast to look at his channel, like the elites, the smart folks, and all of that stuff. And he's also well-researched. It's really tough to go up there now. And Marc is exposing the flaws. He said the show had no clear B mic. I know he's trying to clean that up on Spaces. He's trying to say things like, well, I think the show didn't have a clear B mic, and I think that was inherently okay because the show can survive without a B mic. Well, if that's the case, why are you trying to fill the role of B mic if there's no need for a clear B mic? It's obvious you felt the show needed a B mic. And I want to ask a question before I end. Do you think Marc Lamont is in here for the long haul? Do you think Joe is in here for the long haul with Marc? Marc Lamont said he was busy on Spaces. He has a lot of speaking engagement. He has a lot of things he got to do. And how long can Joe take Marc Lamont outshining him? This is the first time he's ever been in this spot on his own show. We're going to really see what happens when the rubber meets the road, because it's different to say you enjoy Marc, you enjoy this, but in the back of your mind, anytime you debate Marc, you know you're going to lose. You can't Tootsie slide your way out of this one. You can't get loud, because even if you get loud, Marc Lamont's going to make you look stupid. And I largely haven't made any videos about Marc because he's just been so good. But when he said that stuff about I've been carrying the show, I was like, whoa, buddy, we got to take a look at this. You bugging out a bit. And he's bugging out because he's telling the truth. Remember DMX? Preacher telling the truth and it hurts. That's what Marc is doing. And it's scary. Everybody up there needs to fight for your right to potty, because right now you look like amateurs. I know it's, hey, I'm not in that position. I don't got to, on my platform, I don't got to talk with somebody like Marc, but y'all do. And your value is plummeting because when Marc's not there, the gap in the resume is very apparent. But let me know what you think. Do you feel like Marc was disrespectful? This might have been something they talked about behind the scenes, like, yo, Marc, say this on air and let's see how people react. But I don't think Ish and Ice participate in COE, so I believe that on-air reaction was indeed authentic. All right, y'all, follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon, The Stop TV. I put some of my conversations with people from the show on there. This last week, I spoke to Marc Lamont and Rory, so if you want that, it only exists on Patreon. And there's also been a deep dive on the JBTV Space members, as well as a JBP Reddit Space, not Space, live. I'm gonna do a video about kind of the legacy of the Joe Budden podcast subreddit and how that was the initial community that drove the Joe Budden show. And you need to subscribe to get it. It's $3. It's coming soon, probably within the next week. There's a lot of great things going on Patreon. All right, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.